Can you imagine that Magnus Carlsen, the best player of the world, has fallen for a stalemate trap? It really happened at the World Blitz Championship. Let me show you the game. You can see the position on the Millennium chessboard. Carlsen was black and he played against Benjamin Boek from the Netherlands. The position is equal at this point. I also have the Millennium Mephisto Phoenix chess computer here, and I already switched on the analyzing mode, and you can see the evaluation bar says that this position is equal, but it's a little bit uncomfortable for white because Carlsen had this really strong knight on d3 and the bishop on d2 is very passive. And Boek was very low on time, had only seconds, and made a huge mistake. He played bishop to e1. If you like, you can pause the video and think about what is the best move for black. Yes, of course, knight c1 check, and this is a fork. The king has to move and black can take the pawn on a2 and is now a pawn up. And now, yeah, the position is winning for black. King c2, the knight jumps back to b4 with check. And now white has the choice. White can move the king, but then the knight comes back to d3, attacks the bishop on e1. If the bishop moves, then the knight can jump to f2 and attack the h3 pawn. And yeah, it's completely lost for black. For white, of course. Black is winning. So Boek decided to take the knight, but this pawn ending is also terrible for white, and it's winning for black. And obviously Carlsen knew this during the game. He was very sure that this is winning. Black is a pawn up, and he played now very quickly. And yeah, black has 3 pawns on the queen side, and there's no way for the king on the king's flank to break through. So Carlsen took on a3, h3, of course, g takes h3, and king f5, so the king comes to the queen's flank. White can only wait, king c2, king b2, and so on. Now the king is on c5, best position, and yeah, the plan for black is to create a passed pawn. There are some plans which are quite similar. You can play b5 first, you can play a5 first, but in all cases you have to create a passed pawn on b4. Carlsen started with a5. This is completely fine. King c2 and played a4. This is possible. You can also start with b5, but a4 is possible. If white takes the pawn, then king takes c4, and then black already has his passed pawn on b4, and the king can come to d3, take an e3, another passed pawn, and yeah, black will promote with the e-pawn, for example. So Boek decided to play king b2 and just waited what Carlsen will do. Here you have to be very careful because a3 with check looks nice. It looks like the pawn on a3 is very strong, it's protected, it's a passed pawn, but then there's no way for the king to come into the position, and there's no way for the king to attack white pawns. That's why Carlsen took on b3, which is the better move. King takes b3. And Carlsen played the move b6. He played very quickly because, yeah, he knew this is an easy win. And suddenly, Boek played the move king to a4. And Carlsen was completely shocked at this point, because he realized that b6 was a huge blunder. If the black king takes on c4, then it's stalemate. White has no move left. But there's no other move for black. b3, white simply takes, b5, white takes. If the king goes back to c6, white takes on b4. So there's no other move. Black has to take on c4, and then it's stalemate. Instead of b6, Carlsen could have played b5, and then it's an easy win. White has to trade the pawns, then black has the passed pawn and can come to the e3 pawn. It's, yeah, very easy win. But yeah, Carlsen played b6. He thought this is also winning. He thought it doesn't matter if he plays b6 or b5. But yeah, it did matter, and this was a draw in the end. Let me know in the comments if you had similar situations where you blundered a completely winning position because of a stalemate. I hope you liked this video. Then please subscribe to the channel and see you in the next video.